Hey guys, this is David. Today we're going to find out why an electric Whirlpool dryer isn't heating. There are several things that could cause this problem, including incorrect voltage, an open thermal cutoff, a bad heating element, a faulty timer, and a faulty drive motor. If all this sounds overwhelming, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through the troubleshooting process so you can get your dryer running normally again. With over 2 million products in stock and the know-how to help you do it yourself, we are AppliancePartsPros.com. In today's video, we are going to need a 1/4-inch nut driver, a putty knife, a multimeter, a 20 Torx bit, and lastly, a Phillips head screwdriver. To check for voltage, we need to access the terminal block. We can do this by using a 1/4-inch nut driver to remove the cover. Make sure the dryer is plugged in. Then set your multimeter for voltage. When you use the meter to check from the red wire to the white wire, you should get a reading of 120 volts AC. Now check from black to white. You should get another reading of 120 volts AC. Finally check from red to black. You should read 240 volts AC. The dryer needs 240 volts AC to run and heat. If you don't get the right voltage, it can mean that the wrong amount of voltage is coming from the house or the terminal block is burned or defective. You might also have a burned or defective power cord. If the voltage is correct, then go ahead and unplug the dryer. And let's check the heating element. To get to the heating element, use your Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 2 Phillips head screws at the back of the top panel. Once the screws are removed, lift up on the control panel to uncover the 3/4-inch screws that need to be removed. Once the 3/4-inch screws are removed, slide the top panel forward and up to reveal the top of the drum. Next, you need to unplug your door switch. Using a putty knife, push in on the 2 clips and remove the access panel. Now, remove your dryer vent duct by removing the 3/4-inch screws surrounding the duct. Once the duct is off, remove the 2 springs located on the bottom corners of your dryer. Once the springs are removed, go ahead and remove the 2 1/4-inch screws that are holding the door panel. Now go to the top of the door panel and remove the 2 20-bit Torx screws. Now lift up on the front panel and it should come up. Reach under the drum and release the belt from the idler pulley. Then use the drum belt to lift the drum out of the cabinet. Then set your multimeter to ohms, which has a symbol that looks like an upside-down horseshoe. Now remove one of the red wires from the element and check for resistance. It should read between 10 to 15 ohms. If it is not within that range, you'll need to replace the element. The element on this dryer doesn't have a good reading, so it'll need to be replaced. While you are there at the element, check to make sure the element is not grounded. Set your meter to continuity and check from one terminal to the outer metal heater housing. If you have continuity here, the coil inside the housing is touching the metal housing and is grounded, so your element will need to be replaced. While we have the lower access panel off, let's take a look at the thermal cutoff. You can find it on the side of the heating element metal case, behind the high limit thermostat, which is the part closest to you. The thermal cutoff will open up at about 360 degrees Fahrenheit, usually due to a shorted heating element. Pull one of the wires off, then set your multimeter to continuity and touch the 2 terminals. If there's no continuity, you will need to replace the thermal cutoff. It usually comes in a kit with a new high limit thermostat, so you can replace both parts at the same time. With the bottom access panel removed, you can see the cycling thermostat sitting on top of the blower housing. It should have a red and white wire to one side and a solid red wire going to it. Remove one wire and set your multimeter to continuity. Check across both terminals. The thermostat should have continuity or be closed at this point so that there's a complete circuit through the L1 side of the line to the heater. If it doesn't have continuity, the thermostat is defective
and you will need to replace it.
Once you're done, reinstall the drum and drum belt, reattach the belt to the pulley, then the front panel with the door switch. Then go to the bottom and connect your door springs. From there, you want to install the blower housing vent, the bottom access panel, then the top panel.
If the switch inside the timer doesn't close while the dryer is running, it won't send 120 volts AC to one side of the heater. In other words, the element is only getting partial voltage, since it needs 240 volts AC, 120 from the timer, and 120 from the motor circuit to work correctly. Set your multimeter for continuity and check across the two terminals. You should have continuity here, which means the switch is closed and sending voltage to one side of the heater. If there's no continuity, you will need to replace the timer. Next up is the heat switch, which is located on the console. The heat switch is how you regulate the temperature of the dryer.
If your dryer isn't heating, make sure the heat switch is not turned to a no-heat setting.
If it is set correctly, we can check it for continuity. Use your multimeter and set it to continuity, then check from the red wire connector to the other red wire connector. You should have continuity here. If you don't, the switch is defective and will need to be replaced. Live power warning. Normally, you would unplug your appliance before you do any work on it. But we need the dryer's power on at this point to check the voltage. Please be very careful here. Always take extreme care when checking live voltage so you can protect yourself from electric shock, which has the potential to cause serious injuries. And please don't ever test the voltage if you're uncomfortable using a multimeter. When you're ready, plug the dryer back in and turn it on. Then set your multimeter to voltage and carefully touch the red wire with one lead and the other lead to anywhere on the metal cabinet or a neutral wire. The meter should read 120 volts AC. If there's no voltage or it fluctuates up and down, you will need to replace the drive motor. Once you have found out which part is preventing your dryer from heating, you can grab your model number and head over to appliancepartspros.com to get a replacement. Most orders arrive in just a few days, and our guides make installation easy. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free to share the highs and lows of your repair in the comments. If you found this video useful, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.